Everyone's talking about a supply crisis, but what if that's only half the story? What if the real crisis isn't how many homes we build, but how much less our money is worth today? Welcome back to Under the Radar Real Estate. I'm Josh, and today we're cutting through the noise to look at what's really going on in the housing market. Spoiler alert, it's not just about supply. We hear all the time, build more homes to fix the market. But is that really the solution, or are we missing a bigger, more complex issue that has been growing for decades? Stick around because we're about to flip the script on the housing crisis narrative. So have you noticed that almost every headline or politician talks about building more homes as the silver bullet for our housing woes? But what if I told you that even with more supply, affordability might not improve? The logic is simple. More homes should mean lower prices, but reality is often more complex than economic theory. For instance, despite Toronto building more condos and housing units over the last decade, prices have continued to rise. Why? Because many of these units are snapped up by investors, not end users, creating demand that isn't based on living needs, but investment returns. So, if adding more homes isn't the magic answer, what's missing from this conversation? What if the problem isn't the number of homes, but the fact that our dollars buy less than they used to? Purchasing power is simply how much your money can buy. Over time, inflation erodes this power. A dollar today buys less than it did 10 years ago. And in real estate, this effect is magnified. Let's look at some numbers. From 2000 to 2024, inflation in Canada averaged around 2%, but in recent years, we've seen spikes up to, almost near 7% in 2022. That means every year, the value of your savings shrinks. It's invested in something that outpaces inflation. The COVID-19 pandemic changed everything. Stimulus spending, supply chain disruptions, and global uncertainties drove inflation rates to levels not seen in decades. Meanwhile, wages have barely kept up, and many are left with less real buying power. So while traditional cash savings lost value, those people who invested in appreciating assets like the stock market or even Bitcoin saw their wealth grow. Just check out this comparison. In 2016, a median US house cost 664 Bitcoin. Today, it's only 6 Bitcoin. That's not because Bitcoin became the gold standard, but because the value of traditional currency eroded so much. So how does this all tie into the so-called housing crisis? Is the real solution just to keep building more homes, or do we need to address the underlying issue of eroding purchasing power? Adding supply can certainly help, but if people's dollars can't stretch as far, it doesn't matter how many homes you build. They'll remain out of reach for the average buyer. Maybe we need policies that focus on stabilizing inflation, increasing wages, or creating tax incentives for first-time homebuyers. Policies that help your dollar go further, not just put more roofs overhead. If we keep ignoring the affordability aspect, we risk creating more homes that only a few people can actually buy. That's not a housing solution, that's just deepening inequality. This brings us to a crucial point: how the broader economy plays into all of this. Housing affordability isn't just a real estate issue. It's a symptom of a much larger and broader economic divide. Those who owned assets, whether it's stocks, real estate, or even crypto like Bitcoin, saw their wealth increase exponentially. Meanwhile, wage earners saw their real income stagnate. The gap widens and homeownership becomes a fading dream for many. Post-pandemic, we've seen this divide worsen. Essential workers kept the world running, but their paychecks didn't grow to match the risk and the rising costs of living. When we talk about housing, we need to remember it's just a piece of the puzzle. An unaffordable housing market reflects an unaffordable life for many Canadians. So how do we change the narrative? If the real issue is affordability, not supply, what can we do to help more people afford homes? Let's dive into some solutions that are already being tried around the world and here at home. And that first one would be down payment assistance. So, one of the biggest barriers to home ownership is saving for the down payment, especially when wages haven't kept pace with home price increases. So, programs like the Home Buyers Plan that we have access to right here in Canada, or if we look at down in the US, state level down payment assistance, it provides grant or low interest loans to help first time home buyers get over this hurdle. Another solution is shared equity and co ownership models. So, shared equity models allow buyers to share the cost and equity growth of a property with a third party, often either a government or a nonprofit organization. The UK and Australia have implemented such schemes with success, reducing the initial cost and monthly payments. There's also some niche startups like Our Borrow here in Canada that have launched programs just like this. A third solution would be inflation-linked mortgage products. So countries like the Netherlands have experimented with inflation-linked mortgages that adjust payments based on inflation. So this protects buyers from the double whammy of rising home prices and static incomes. So these are just a few examples of policies and innovations that can help shift the narrative from a supply side focus to one that tackles the deeper issue of affordability. So to wrap it up, we need to shift our focus from just supply to a broader conversation about affordability. It's not just about how many homes we build, but whether people can actually afford to purchase those homes that we build and afford to live in them. So what do you think? Is the real crisis affordability, not supply? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video thought-provoking, hit that subscribe button for more Under the Radar takes on real estate. So as always, thanks for watching Under the Radar Real Estate. Remember, in every crisis, there's an opportunity, often hidden in plain sight.